Hello and welcome to the video. We were continuing the second chapter of your history, the new kings and kingdoms. In last videos we discussed that how new kings raised to power and how they started establishing their new kingdoms. In this video, we will discuss about the warfare and the wealth, how the kings were indulged in wars in order to acquire more wealth. The very first way for kings to acquire wealth or to get wealth was collection of revenue from different people, like from the farmers, from traders, from merchants, etc. So the kings were collecting revenue in order to accumulate wealth for the welfare of people. But except revenue, kings were also indulged in some war in order to acquire wealth quickly. We will see how. Each of these ruling dynasties was based in specific regions. As you can see here in the map, the green shaded area was the area which was ruled by Gujjara Pratiharas. The orange shaded area was ruled by Rashtrakutas and the purple shaded area was ruled by the Palas. So each of them have their own boundary, own specific regions where these dynasties ruled for years. But sometime they tried to control the areas. One particularly praised area was the city of Kannauj in the Ganga Valley. They all have their own territory, but sometimes they try to expand their territory. As you can see here, the Rashtrakutas tried to capture these much areas, where the Palas tried to capture this area, and at the same time the Gujjara Pratiharas also tried to capture these surplus areas. So this capturation or the occupation of new area was required in order to get more wealth, because the area which will be under your control, all the resources belonging to that area will be yours automatically. So kings tried to control new areas in order to acquire more areas so that they can get more number of resources. And one such area which all the three dynasties desired to control was Kannauj. As you can see here, this is the Kannauj, which is located near the Ganga Valley. All the three rulers, the Gujjara Pratiharas, the Rashtrakutas, and the Palas, tried to control this area, because as the Kannauj is located near the Ganga Valley, this is highly fertile area. So it can be used for good agricultural production, and if the farmers produce more, they can give more revenue to the king. So all the three dynasties, that is Gujjara Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas and the Palas, tried to capture the Kannauj. For centuries, rulers belonged to the Gujjara Pratihara, Rashtrakuta, and Pala dynasties fought for control over Kannauj, as we discussed. Because there were three parties, that is Gujjara Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, and Palas, the long drawn conflict, historians often described it as tripartite struggle. The fights between the Gujjara Pratiharas, the Rashtrakutas, and the Palas in order to capture the Kannauj was popularly remarked as the tripartite struggle by historians. Rulers also tried to demonstrate their power and resource by building large temples. The rulers were not only indulged in wars, they also constructed large buildings and temples in order to showcase, in order to demonstrate their power and their resource, their richness. So many a time when one king attacked another, they generally target the temples area, because the temples were very rich source of wealth. The kings were spending much of their wealth in order to building splendid temples in order to showcase their resource. So many of time when one king attacked others kingdom, they generally targeted the temple area because temples were rich source of wealth. One of the best known of such ruler who often targeted temples was the Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni of Afghanistan. So, Sultan Muhammad, who is popularly also known as Muhammad Ghazni, he was the Sultan of Ghazni. Sultan Muhammad attacked many Indian temples and plundered them. And he was from Ghazni and also known as Muhammad Ghazni of Afghanistan. We will look into a little detail about Muhammad Ghazni of Afghanistan. He ruled from 997 to 1030. He extended control over parts of Central Asia, Iran, and northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent. Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni ruled from 997 to 1030, and he tried to extend his control over the Central Asia, Iran, and the northwestern part of Indian subcontinent. He raided the Indian subcontinent almost every year, and he targets mainly the wealthy temples. As we discussed now, that the temples were rich source of wealth. The kings were throwing lots of wealth in order to building splendid temple in order to showcase their resource holding. So Muhammad of Ghazni, he raided Indian temples almost every year and he targeted the wealthy temples. And one such temple which was raided by Muhammad of Ghazni repeatedly was the Somnath temple of Gujarat. By raiding temples, by looting Indian temples, Muhammad Ghazni accumulated lots of wealth, and by using those wealth, he built a splendid capital city at Ghazni. The Muhammad of Ghazni, he raided Indian temples and looted ample of wealth, and by using that looted wealth, he built a splendid and excellent capital city in Ghazni. Sultan Muhammad was also interested in finding out more about the people he conquered, and he was very interested in the life of people he conquered. Whoever people he won or whichever area he conquered, he captured successfully, he was very interested to know about the lifestyle, the economy, the interest of those local people. And in order to get a proper knowledge of Indian people, mainly the Indian subcontinent people, he appointed a scholar to write more about them so that he could acquire more knowledge about the local resident. And he appointed a scholar whose name was Al Biruni, and Al Biruni wrote a detailed account of the lifestyle, the interest, the economy of Indian people. Let's discuss a little about Al Biruni's work. The Arabic work known as the Kitab ul Hind remains an important source for historian, as Muhammad of Ghazni appointed scholar Al Biruni to write about the lifestyle of people of Indian subcontinent. Al Biruni prepared an account of Indian people in Arabic language, and the book or the work was known as Kitabul Hind. And the Kitabul Hind is a rich source of information for today's historian. To complete the work of Kitabul Hind, Al Biruni consulted many Sanskrit scholars, and by their suggestion and as per their point of view, he wrote the account, he completed the account about the lifestyle of the people of Indian subcontinent. which is known as the Kitabul Hind. And Kitabul Hind is a rich source of information for the present generation historians. Next, we will discuss about the Chohans. Other kings who engaged in warfare includes the Chahamanas. It's not only the Muhammad of Ghazni who chose the warfares to acquire wealth. Many Indian rulers were also choosing warfare in order to acquire wealth. And one such example is the Chohan rulers of India. Chohans were initially known as Chahamanas and later came to known as Chohans, who ruled over the region around the Delhi and Ajmer. The Chohans or the Chahamanas ruling near the present day Delhi and Ajmer areas. They attempted to expand their control. They were opposed by the Chalukyas and the Gahadwalas of western Uttar Pradesh. They were initially ruling near the Delhi Ajmer area, and when they tried to expand their control over the subcontinent, they were opposed by the Chalukyas from the south and the Gahadwalas from the Uttar Pradesh. The best known Chahamana ruler or the best known Chohan ruler was Pritiviraj III, or we popularly known him as Pritiviraj Chohan, who ruled from 1168 to 1192. Prithviraj Chauhan ruled from 1168 to 1192, and during his ruling period he defeated an Afghan ruler whose name was Sultan Muhammad Ghuri in 1191. But in the very next year, in 1192, Sultan Muhammad Ghuri again defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. That's all about this video. Thank you.